We haven't even started drinking yet today.
Oh, God.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy. This is a show where we talk about all things with our own special twist of scrutiny. I can't talk, but I am one of your hosts, Andy Vargo, and this is my bestie,
Cheri Hardman.
I pointed it the right way the first time today. Wow, that was awesome. Cheri, how are you? It's been 2 weeks. We missed last week because we had life going on, and I'm just so glad to be back here with you today. What you got going on in your world?
Oh, I don't know what I got going on. Are we going to talk as far as shows right now, or just life?
Whatever you want to talk. Let's start with shows. Let's get that out of the way.
And then we'll talk about life.
Okay.
I have a show Friday night at Pierce County.
Oh, Pierce County Cider?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome.
That'll be fun, but I don't need to promote it because it's already sold out. So that's cool. Nora and Van will be headlining, and that will be a fun show. Mm-hmm. And Mike and Tommy are on it. So some of my like best friends in comedy, you know.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Like if you were there, it would have been like not a trifecta, but yeah. But anyway, there's that. And then I don't have any shows again until the big one at Nate's.
Yeah.
So February 13th. And I did talk to Nate today.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to clarify something. So the show is Love and Relieve 'Em on February 13th at 8:00 at Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Club. But that is also the day of the Super Bowl.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if they were doing like a Super Bowl thing there or not, and they are. So they are having a Super Bowl viewing party at Nate Jackson's club. So you could potentially go there for the game and then hang out and stay for the show.
Hey, that sounds fun.
Yeah. So you don't have to do it that way, but there's that possibility. So I just wanted to.
Full day.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there.
All right.
I will be probably hanging out over at the hotel next door. One of my friends going to have a room over there, and I might go over there.
Nice.
Have a drink or two. I know. I've realized I can only have one drink before.
I was gonna say before the show. Like I know I can't have very much before I perform. I keep it to one drink. Even though I can still be funny if I've had a couple drinks. Sometimes I'm funnier. Not funnier, but I can be hilarious with a couple drinks, but not in a clarity around my jokes.
Right, remembering your stuff. Yeah,
I get sloppy.
We don't want that. But
I'm excited.
Be a show.
Yeah, I'm going to be on that show, and then we have the show the next day at Odd Otter, which is Roast Your Ex. So it's
and I've sold tickets to both those shows today. There have been some sales.
That is so exciting to see.
That's exciting.
It's such a fun way to get out of the cliche of having a romantic dinner for Valentine's Day and just go have some fun and be you and hear jokes about dating and relationships and love. It's gonna be a blast.
Well, and it's like in both shows we have people who are single, people who are coupled. There's a variety, so you're going to hear a lot of different perspectives. Yeah. So I think that's what I think is great. I tried to make it so that it wasn't all married people or it wasn't all single people, so the theme.
You're not going to go get a bunch of hate or a bunch of this and be like, oh my gosh, everyone's joking about dating, and here I am single listening to all this. And you're also not going to hear a bunch of hating on
if you're happily in love, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to do a little bit of a balance. Roast Your Ex, I don't know. It really has never come. People are really like excited always for that roast. Oh yeah, I want to roast my ex. And I'm thinking we might have the audience. I'm trying to figure out some audience participation on that. Yeah. Maybe have them share some horrible things about their ex, and we could make a joke about it or something. I don't know. I haven't quite figured that out.
That could be fun. almost like Unmentionables, where they throw something out there and it's like,
Yeah.
or they could fill out little cards with just like a little that time that blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then we could fill in the blanks.
And that show, Roaster X, except for us, everybody else is from Portland. I don't know how that ended up being that way, but that's interesting.
Yeah, that is.
So that's good for people who have come to a lot of local shows. These will be people that you may not have seen. Sorry. Except for maybe Lance Ed, where he comes up every now and then.
Well, and also it's oh damn you. It's also fun because if they have friends up here that don't get to see them very often, then they can come.
Yeah. So they're both going to be good shows. I would recommend them. And like I've said, Andy and I are the only two that are on both shows. So everybody else is somebody different. And I'm planning on doing some different jokes at each show. So you could potentially go to both shows and still have a good time.
Fun with it. Yeah.
So there's that. So that's exciting. And then I've got some other stuff coming up this month. I have a show with Quentin on the 17th, and I have what do you call it? The Dope Show.
Yeah.
I think the 19th and 20th. And then I have another disabled list show like on the 25th. So be sure to go to sherihardman.com after I update it after this show so that you can see everything. You can get tickets for things right on there or have at least the links to click. So
yeah, so set yourself a reminder right now to go to sherihardman.com tomorrow and buy tickets, put them in your calendar, save it, whatever you got to do to make sure you don't miss a thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a blast.
So, well, I'm saying that, hang on, and then I'm going to ask you, we've been meaning to make like a promo for this, but we need to remind people that if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching it on Facebook or another place, whatever you're watching or listening to it on, will you please be sure to like for us and subscribe and follow.
Yes, and thank you to those of you that already are. We appreciate you so much. You're amazing. Don't hesitate to share it with your friends because we love getting the word out there. We are happy.
Yeah, and we love you guys. I know we have some faithful people that watch or listen to us every single week. And we notice, I check the numbers every week. So I notice. So thanks.
All right.
And what's up with you, Andy?
Not much. You know what? This week, my most exciting thing this week, I had all my stuff before I got through all my gigs. That was exciting. This week, I have upgraded my technology. So I have a new cell phone, have a new computer. I logged right into Zoom with no problem and feeling good on that. And I even, spoiler alert, I downloaded TikTok. So pretty soon, you're going to start seeing some TikTokies coming from me.
That'll be interesting. You're going to make it big on TikTok. I can just tell because you do have that.
Oh my God.
Little bit of goofiness to you. So once you figure out the app and how to just like do it all, then it's going to be.
I've had some ideas. I've been thinking about it for a couple weeks. Before I got my phone, I was like, I'm going to start TikTok, but I'm not going to do it till I get the phone because my other phone was just. If I would have put one more app, it wouldn't have even probably loaded it. The memory.
Right.
And so I've been thinking about. I've had some ideas, and I tell you, I have never felt so old as when I tried to start making a TikTok video. I'm just like. I don't know where to push on anything and I had to Google it and I had to actually read an article. How old is that you're reading a handwritten article about like, my dearest Andy, while you go on this venture for social media, you will want to know that you need to scroll down. Yes, it was. I had to get out my monocle. Like, So I'm learning right now. I have some young people in my life that are going to help me on this journey. Someone told me the other day that anybody over 50 should have a mentor under 30, just like a technology mentor. You can mentor them on life and they can mentor you on technology, but just to keep up to date with the things that you should have someone in your life that can help you with that. So
interesting.
I thought that was kind of a good thing to think. And I am around a lot.
I just wanted to say, if you have to use a magnifying glass to go on TikTok, maybe you're too old for TikTok. I don't know.
Oh my God. That's funny.
Well, that's exciting
so
because this is the deal about Andy, everybody, is that Andy's like, oh, he doesn't want to do things if everybody else is doing them, or he doesn't want to watch something if everybody else is watching them, without stopping to think maybe everybody's doing it because it's fun or it's cool or it's a good show or whatever.
right.
So I'm glad you finally jumped on the bandwagon.
So I'm finally, you know, like 4 years later, however long it's been around, I'm like, okay, I'll get on the TikTok.
And by the time you get on, then there's something else is gonna crop up. Did you ever do? You never did Snapchat?
I do have the Snapchat.
Oh, you do? Do you use it?
I do. I have certain people that are just friends on that. That's how they communicate. So I rarely post on there. Like sometimes I'll post a story, but like it's once a month or something. And I'm like, I should do this on Snapchat. So more often than not, it's because certain people just, that's how they communicate. So they will send me a snap and I'll snip back. And so, yep. So I have Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, which I've not really done anything on, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. And now
do you use LinkedIn much?
I'm trying to get better at what. So here's the deal. Before I got divorced, I wasn't really on any social media except LinkedIn was the one that I could kind of justify being on. So I really enjoyed it. And I've actually made some really great connections on there, and I'm going to a conference in March. Yeah. So, I used it a lot when I was blogging, and I've made a lot of connections through that realm. A lot of people who are in kind of the same world as far as being authors or speakers are on there, and that's how I've connected with them more so than other places.
Right.
And when I started doing other social media, I kind of got out of the habit of being on LinkedIn because I used to be really active on there. And that's one of my goals for this year, is to position myself more professionally in certain aspects. And so I am planning to be more active on LinkedIn specifically. So I was actually just on there last night trying to update my profile because I realized that there's some things I want to change about it. So I am going to resurrect that a little bit.
Cool.
Like right now, when I do a podcast, I share it to LinkedIn, or when I do a blog, I share it to LinkedIn, and then I randomly will comment on an article once a month. But I'm trying to just do 15 to 20 minutes a day on there, and maybe 15 to 20 minutes a day on TikTok. The other stuff kind of happens naturally because I already have the activity going.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, and like I know I told you this, but I took some class or whatever about social media, and it was like, it's better to do just one medium really well than a bunch of them not that well.
That's
So I kind of focus on Facebook because I'm old, and that's kind of the one I'm comfortable with. And then my Instagram, and like Instagram's a little bit less, Twitter way less, the other ones I just kind of do from on the periphery of my life,
Yeah, I'm really not engaged on Twitter. When I post on LinkedIn, it automatically posts to Twitter. When I post to Instagram, it automatically posts to Facebook. When I post to my website, it automatically posts to Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. So it's like I have these chains of things that create posts. But yeah, really, I'm most engaged on Facebook. And so I want to re-engage on LinkedIn and then involve TikTok, which TikTok, I don't know how much I'll be on there. I don't plan to really scroll much, but I figure I will end up using it for a content creation and then sharing that out to where my audience is. And if I get an audience on there, then I'll learn how to deal with that and hire an assistant to book my trips and around the world for my world tours.
The thing I like about TikTok that I find really interesting is what you tend to, it's really good at what you tend to like. They send more of,
Okay.
Kind of like Facebook used to be, but not so intrusive.
Yeah, Facebook's gotten diluted quite a bit.
Yeah. So like when I get on, so I've heard people say, oh, you see all this blah, 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 and that on TikTok. And I'm like, I don't see anything like that, because they're not sending me that whatever they're looking at, So I have a lot of queer people on mine. Like at first I thought this TikTok thinks I'm a lesbian, which, I don't really care, but because I tend to I see one person's, that one guy that I send you a lot, he's not a guy, she's not a guy, See, I'm still learning.
You share their stuff, yeah.
Jeffrey Marsh, I share their stuff, yeah, and they appear. The appearance is confusing by old-fashioned standards, let's just say, but they have the most loving manner of trying to teach things without the harsh judgment that you get. Like some people might have just now jumped on me for misgendering when it was just an honest mistake. And Jeffrey Marsh explains things from a loving, like, I understand that you're trying and I appreciate that. And I'm coming at you with love. And I have a lot of people like that I follow. And sometimes I feel just really like I've gotten a big hug by being on TikTok. I really do. So don't dismiss it too easily, because
what's interesting right now is, since I haven't watched or engaged, I've watched a couple of your videos because I followed you.
Oh God.
And what happens though is every time I open it, it goes right to what it thinks I might like, and I scroll over to following, so it just shows you. And then it keeps putting one of your videos in front of me that I haven't seen yet, even though you haven't posted any new ones since the Sex and the City one, which is awesome, by the way. I love that. I've showed that to so many people. Even people who haven't watched the show just crack up and think it's hilarious, because it's like they get the point. But it's interesting. So I noticed that if you're following somebody and you haven't seen their stuff, it's going to keep putting anything that you haven't seen. And instead of it just being like, whereas on Facebook, I'll open up Facebook and the same post you did yesterday will continually be in front for like 3 or 4 days. Whereas this one's like, oh, here's one you haven't seen with Cheri and Andrew, and here's one with her cat or her dog or whatever. And at first I keep thinking, oh, she posted a new video. Oh, she posted, and then I look at your feed and I'm like, oh no, this is just pulling.
This is like an old one. Yeah, I've noticed that they've done that.
Which is fine, but I think that helps you get more attention to your stuff. And so I've had to think through like what I want to start putting out there. And then someone, one of the young folks was like, I think the best advice I could give you would just be to not overthink it and just do something. I'm like, well, that's not my style.
Right. I know. Well, I just figured I would just find my niche, whatever it was, as I went along, and I really haven't. I thought video clips of my comedy would do better than they have. Of course, just like my regular life, if I put Andrew on it, it always gets more views.
And I think I think on TikTok, because I thought about that with my comedy too, or maybe that would be funny, but then I think that on there, they're actually preferring the spontaneous day in the life stuff. So if it looks too, even though the stuff, a lot of it is planned and that they set it up and then it was a prank or whatever, but if it's like an on-stage presence, I don't think that they're looking for that as much. That's more of a YouTube.
But I see some that do really well also.
Okay.
So. Well, maybe, like I said, if I put Andrew on there, it usually does well.
What if you just did a funnier joke?
Yeah, well, that could be part of it. But I will tell you, I don't get a ton of views, but you know what people talk to me most about in person about my TikToks is my trying on bra videos. I get a lot of men come up to me and say stuff like, they don't comment or anything on the video, but
no, that would be public.
Yeah, they'll come up to me in private and say, make some more bra videos. So that's kind of funny.
That is funny. I wonder if your views go up if people rewatch the same one?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I noticed I had an uplift in both my Google search finds the last month and a half, and my website visits had been trending up the last 4 months, and I also had an uplift the last 28 days in my YouTube views, and I've been really bad. I haven't posted anything, so I thought, gee, what if I tried and actually put some stuff out there? So that's kind of my goal the next couple of weeks, is to capitalize on this little lift I'm getting. And what was nice is on the analytics, it was showing me the unique views. So like one of them, there was like 86 views, but there were 66 unique viewers. So I know it wasn't someone or me like rewatching the same thing. It was for the most part, unique views.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's so crazy because with all of these things, you start to learn how to do it and how to play the game, and then the game changes, and then there's another new thing. And
True.
When I started doing YouTube videos, 3 or 4 years ago, I was doing those awkward thoughts videos. They were always kind of corny and cheesy, but with a message. And I need to do more of those, but the production time was just taking a lot. But I had watched all of these tutorials on YouTube and how to do it well and how to, become a star, and it was overwhelming. And just even learning how to put out a good video was enough to figure out. So once I started doing it, I thought, now that I've been doing it for a few years and I have a base of some content, I should go rewatch some new tutorials and even try and relearn as if I'm restarting from scratch, because there's some things that might still be worth relearning, and there may be some things that are still valid from before. But if I take the base of knowledge I have now and then relearn, instead of being maybe 30% proficient, maybe I'll get to 40 or 60% proficient, or maybe I'm 60% and I'll get to 80, whatever that is.
Right.
We can continue to level up as we relearn. And I think we can't forget that it's important to go back to the basics on things that we already feel like we've started to kind of get down.
Yeah, well, so much of all this is consistency.
Ugh, I hate that.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, it's true. And it's like, I think just, I don't know, because, I believe a lot in, putting out intentions and manifesting things from the universe. So I think, like, when I'm watching my views go up, I think I'm just conjuring up more energy that's going to make people watch them. The other thing about TikTok, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I will see how many views I have on something, and then like I go away and then I come back and then there's way more. Like the way that it like resets or whatever is really funky.
Interesting. Yeah. I haven't posted anything yet, so I haven't experienced that.
Oh, well, watch for it. Because like you'll put something up there and then for like hours, it'll say 1. And then you'll go away and come back and then all of a sudden there's 200. And it's like,
oh, nice.
I don't think so, or whatever.
Yeah, like it must just like update every so often or something to tell you.
But if you kind of like keep going out and in and out and in and out and in, you can sometimes make it
update. I don't know.
There's probably like young people watching this. God, what a couple of idiots.
They're like,
we're trying.
There's a refresh button right here.
And we're trying. We are trying. And that's all you can do.
It is. And I really admire how I really admire when people are aging and embracing change and technology, because it would be really simple to say, you know what, this is where I'm jumping off the bandwagon and I don't need to learn anything else. But that's how you become obsolete, or that's how you become kind of left out of culture, or that's how you don't know what's going on, is as things change around you, you don't keep up with it. And it's as simple even as a new restaurant opening up in the neighborhood and you going to try it out, or whatever that thing is. That it doesn't mean you have to give up all the old stuff that you used to do, but just dip your toe in the water a little bit.
Good. I want to talk a little bit about what I did last night.
I'd like to hear that.
There's a comedy club in Seattle. I'm not sure if I should say the name or not, because I'm not saying anything bad about them. But I'm afraid it might come across that way. So I don't know. Anyway, I went to Club Comedy. It's up on Capitol Hill for the first time. Now, they used to be in an inaccessible building, but now they've moved over next door, kind of whatever. And now it's accessible. So I went last night to see if I could make it work for me, because it's a pretty small room.
Yeah.
And so I don't really want to talk about the space itself that much, because everybody that was working there, Rick and JR, were really helpful, and were like, anything you need us to do, we'll do. Like, how can we make this work for you?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, let's see if I can even get up on, I had a plan. And then I was like, well, I better see if I can get up on the stage before the show starts, because it's a bad time to find out that I can't in the middle of a show, right?
Yeah.
And I got up and it's just like, here's the stage, and there's like one, like, not a stationary step, but it's a portable, like a step put up to it, right?
Yeah.
And it was pretty high. And as I stepped up on it, I realized, as I stepped up onto the stage, I realized, oh, that was way too high. I'm not going to be able to get back down. Like, I did. I made it back down, but it was very dicey, and I kind of tripped, and I was like, there's no way I can do that stage. So, but the way the place is set up, there's just nowhere I can pull my scooter up, get off without it just totally like being in the way. So then I came up, I thought, well, why don't I leave my scooter here in the back of the room, and then I will work my way up to a chair in the front row right by the stage, and then they can just hand me the mic. But right as I was going to do it, some people came in, sat down right in those spots. So I was like, eh. So they didn't have a portable mic, cordless mic, so I wasn't able to do it. And it was like, I didn't want to cry. I was so mad that I started to cry, but it was involuntary, and it came out, and it was like, I don't know what the word I want to say. I don't think it was even frustration, but it was just a sad, I can start to cry now, but I'll try not to. I just am feeling really sad that it's so hard all the time to be in the world. To just be in the world is hard. And people don't think about it because they don't have to, and I'm not saying anything bad about this venue. It's just like so many, it's like, we've talked about this before, like when you and I go somewhere, you're so good to think about the arrangements of rooms and stuff like that before we go, but sometimes it's just exhausting to have to, sometimes it's just exhausting to be me physically, first of all, but to have to like think of all that, and then it's just like, then I kind of got in my head, and then I just erupted and started crying. And then of course, there's a couple people that are willing to help me. Like what, people are rallying around, and I'm like, well, I just wanted to leave. But then I felt like that would have looked like I was mad, and I wasn't upset with them. Right. I just wanted to go away from it. Yeah. And I'm like, well, then they're going to ask me a question, and then if I open my mouth, I'm going to start to cry. So I stayed there for a while, and then I was able to calm down enough to say, I can't do this. I'll just watch. But one thing that somebody said to me was really great, and one reason why I wanted to bring it up. Megan Dowsey was there, and at first she said to me, I don't know if I just pronounced her name right or not, but she said to me, how can I help you? Or what can I, whatever. But then she said, the next thing she said was, what can I do to support you? And I was like, oh my God, that's like the best sentence I've ever heard. Yeah. Not just for me, but for anyone, who's struggling, or, like sometimes like when somebody dies, you don't know, like, what do you need? But to state it in that way, what can I do to support you? Yeah. I actually really like in my head started going, well, what could she do? Like I really thought, what could she do? Yeah. And so I would just advise people to try that line on somebody that seems to be struggling with something. And I like that. It was really good. Like I really, she made me feel better by saying that.
Well, just knowing that someone is there, and it's such a small twist of words to say, how can I help versus what can I do to support you? Because how can I help? It's like, it's almost like it's putting it on you to come up with something that they can do for you. and even though we're trying to say the same thing, they might be saying, I want to support you, but versus, what would be supportive for you right now? Maybe it's a hug, maybe it's a alone time, maybe it's like, just let me have my peace,
Well,
and
the
maybe
other
it's
thing
something
about
specific.
the other thing about this situation is there's this constant, like, people talk to me differently when I'm in a scooter. They'll rush themselves to help me so much that it makes a spectacle of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this kind of feeling of like you're a baby or you're a victim or you're a helpless thing. And so saying, how can I help you is like, I don't need help. Support though, yeah, I do need that.
Mm-hmm.
So that maybe was the semantics difference.
Yeah.
But no, so it was interesting. And I was able to leave there just thinking, all they need is a cordless mic, because then no matter where I was sitting, I could do my set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I can command a room. I don't have to be on stage to command a room. I can make people listen to me. No matter where I'm sitting, I can. So
yeah. And as you were telling that story, a couple things came to mind. And one was that there's that difference like when you're talking about, yes, people are going out of their way to be as helpful as they can. But what I sense is that what would be really ideal is that if that isn't needed, if it's, I don't want it to be this big thing. It just, can we just,
like, do I have to come up with rooms,
yeah,
decorating advice every time I go somewhere? Just fucking make it so I can get where I need to be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And like you said, you mentioned that I'm helpful when we go places as far as thinking of that. And there's so many things I hadn't thought about till we spent as much time together. And all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, this is a bigger step than I thought it would be. Or there's a lip in the doorway and it's going to get in the way of a scooter. Like, what doesn't, you might not notice as a step is enough that it might be an obstacle. Or is there enough room between tables and things like that? But
yeah, it was kind of a bit of an emotional roller coaster, and it was nice because I texted Dave and he said, come home to where to where you're loved. So that was nice. And so it made me, when he used to tell me to come home, it used to piss me off, but that was a nice so I don't know, maybe the lesson for the day was just how you say something to people makes a difference.
That's very true. Yeah, it's very true.
But anyway, it seems like a great place. They had a great audience. I'm looking forward to going back. I emailed them when I got home and said, well, I came to the conclusion that all you need is a cordless mic, so let me know when you have one.
That's a great, yeah. And there's a good solution, to be able to say, hey, I'm not giving up on your space. I appreciate all you that you're saying you want to be able to help. This is what would work.
Yeah. So they were very lovely. So nobody needs to think that I'm saying anything negative about them, because I'm really not. So
yeah. And I think a lot of times too, people get defensive. So it's hard to share a story without people thinking you're necessarily trashing a situation or saying, this is how I felt and this is what I experienced. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. You were, I know they invited you there to find out, to kind of learn and to see, because they want you to be able to be there. But it's hard if people are doing things where they're like, oh, why are you saying this? I'm trying to be helpful. It's like, well, no, I'm just saying I'm working through this moment.
Right. Well, and then like I posted a quote today.
I saw that.
The last line of it was just like, in a place where you don't have to, I'm paraphrasing, but in a place where you don't have to worry about those kind of things, that's when you can be yourself. And it made me think of Nate's, how I can right up on that stage. I don't have to worry about anything when I'm there.
Yeah.
That's just so freeing. It's like, well, this is what it used to be like to be a normal person,
Well, it's interesting because, when I was doing my gigs, I talked about, when I talk about owning your awkward and stuff, I talk about the idea that, like, before I came out of the closet, I spent so much energy thinking all day long, well, if I do this, is it going to make me look gay? Is this going to make me look gay? Is, you know, whatever it is. And we do that, whether it's like, how am I trying to impress someone? How am I trying to be? It doesn't have to be that you have this big, deep, dark secret. However, if you're spending 30% of your energy having to focus on being a certain way or fitting in a certain way, or however you're going to be, that means you're only spending 70% of your energy on being your best or living your best life or having fun. And it's so much better if you could spend 100% of your time and attention, like you say, when you go to a club where you can ride up on stage, all the worries are gone. Now all of your energy can go into a good show and having a fun and having a good time, and you don't have to have any distractions versus, okay,
Oh, because if I'm at a show where I have to go upstairs to get on stage, I would actually say that's where 70% of my attention goes to.
Mm-hmm.
The worry about it. Oh, what if I finally get up there and then I have to go to the bathroom? Then I have to come back down. Like, it's just, I only have the energy to go up there once and come back. I mean, like, that's all I can do today. So that is pervasive. Under every conversation I'm having, my brain is going, oh, I got so many minutes to get up the stairs, you know, like it kind of sucks. So anyway.
It's a good lesson.
Oh, can we talk about some stuff we've been watching? Have you been watching anything lately?
I watched season 4 of Ozark like overnight.
Oh, that's right. Don't give me any spoiler alerts, because I
won't. I was just sad when Ruthie died, but other than that. Anyway.
Yeah, we started Ozark and we didn't finish it, but I'm sure at some point I will revisit.
It took me a couple episodes to like remember who some of the characters were, because it had been a while, where I was like, oh wait, no, that's this person, that's that person. But as soon as I fell into it pretty quick. But at first I was like, damn, maybe I should have rewatched a little bit first. But
sometimes that's fun though, to go rewatch and then they just keep going if you have the time to binge. But
yeah,
I don't have all that now. I want to talk about something that I've been seeing. Okay, so and Just Like That, which is the reboot of Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Have you looked at that at all?
I haven't, but I heard a bit of conversation about this around the table the other night. So I'm a little familiar with what's going on, and I don't worry about the spoilers on that, because I'll watch.
Well, I already spoiled the one thing for you. So, well, the thing is that's been bothering me is that I see a lot of articles come up on my phone about it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been reading like all the articles, and there's even like YouTube channels about it and stuff like that. And what everybody's all been out of shape about is poor Steve. Because Miranda cheated on him and then left him for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hello, Steve cheated on her in the Sex and the City movie. Why was everybody not heartbroken about that? So it's just another example. And here, this is a show. I'm going to go off now. This is a show geared for women. Yeah. You know, like that is the target audience, is women.
So you think they'd be more upset the other way around? Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's just more misogyny, but it's coming from women who are watching the show that are more upset about poor Steve. Oh God. It really angers me every time I see an article like that. How long have you been in here? The cat is in here. I had no idea she was in here. She's just sitting there looking at the door.
You have a bigger audience than you thought today.
Yeah. No, so anyway, that just really irritates me because I just don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Is it homophobia? Is it homophobia? Is that why they're upset with Miranda so much right now? Because the affair is not with another man.
Yeah.
Man, you know.
That's a good question. Is it well, and also is it, I think another twist to it could be that during the show, the original Sex and the City show, there was so much movement in all parts all the way around, and Miranda was saying she didn't want this thing, and then there was a thing, and then there was so much fluidity in the relationships in that show. And I haven't seen And Just Like That yet. However, the impression I get is that it's that everyone is supposed to be more settled, and so the expectation is then that we're past that type of lifestyle. So it was acceptable when this is what the life we were living was this singles life, and we're dating people all the time. And almost every episode, one of them had a different boyfriend or two, or not a boyfriend, or a fling at least. And that was kind of a major theme. And so we expected all those flings to go back and forth. And now you move into this where we're supposed to be the mature grown up version of the show where, they've all moved on, they've had kids, they've settled down, whatever's happened with each of them. So we're not supposed to live like that anymore because now this is who we are. And yet the roots of the whole thing for every character was not in that space.
Well, what I'm reading, what they're saying is that, Steve on the show, he was like the perfect man, because he was a good husband and a good father. And, he had a good sense of humor, he was really laid back, and he let Miranda be who she was and blah, blah, blah. And so how she could do this to him, but they're forgetting this important chunk that I know I can't speak for everyone, but I know that in my case, in a relationship I had where there was cheating, like we stayed together, but I fucking never forgot it. And it was always in my mind. And it was always like, of course, I was evil too, because I'd just be like, well, I can do whatever I want to him because it's never going to be as bad as what he did to me. I had that, but I would have never forgiven him for that.
Yeah. Well,
and so if I had an opportunity to cheat, it would be like, oh, well, he already cheated, so why not?
Well, that's where I think a lot of times people get into situations where it's really hard to be honest about how much resentment you're really holding in a situation. And it's easy to say, oh, well, we've moved on, whatever. But it takes a really strong person to be that honest with themselves and say, but are you really never going to bring that up again? Are you never going to hold it over their head? Are you never going to let yourself not feel guilty if you do something that's as bad or not even quite as bad, where you're like, well, they deserve it because of this history? Because if you have any of those thoughts in your head, then you really haven't come to terms with it and moved on.
Well, and not only that, but a lot of times the cheater will say, how long do I have to apologize for this? How long are you going to keep bringing this up? And I remember like Dr. Phil saying, unless and until they believe that you really understand how much pain you caused, they're going to continue to bring it up or think about it or whatever. So,
and I know it's bad to say, but I think a lot of times, like, people think the noble thing to do is to stay together, or it's not cool to like break up. But sometimes it's like, you know what, if these are the terms in which you're having to stay together, wouldn't it be better to just not be stuck in that space and be able to move on?
Right.
I don't know. So I think they should just, I haven't seen the show, but they probably should just break up. Move apart.
which they have. So
okay.
Yeah, so there's that. And then
which makes me feel really bad for Steve.
Well, maybe you should date him. Well, I know, and that's the only thing. It's like, calm down, people. These are fictional characters.
You know what my problem is? Like, I always thought Steve was kind of quirky and cute, in a quirky way. He was kind of cute, but I watch TV. You ever watch a movie and you're like, oh my God, that guy's hot. And then you realize that you're watching a movie from like 30 years ago. And then you look up the actor now and you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
Because wasn't Sex in the City like 20 years ago?
Well, yeah, but Steve looks fine.
Okay. I haven't seen the new stuff yet, so I don't know.
But they have him like he's deaf, like not deaf, hard of hearing, like an older man. He has to wear a hearing aid. And so
what?
So they're making it like, oh, they make him be all bumbling because he can't hear what Miranda's saying. So I don't know. That's just yeah, I know she needs out. Hang on one quick second. Yes, I know you're all dying right. And you need to be let
just
out.
Another time while I wait for Cheri to take care of her pussy.
Well, you know, always like that.
If you're just joining us, this is Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy, and Cheri is kind of here. She's taking care of her kitty cat. and we've been talking about the Sex and the City reboot and Just Like That, which I have not watched yet, but Cheri was on a roll. If you need to rewatch that.
Oh, it's Thursday night too. So it means it's on tonight.
Oh, that's right. Because they're doing like a release at a time, aren't they?
Yeah, every week. Like
They
a real
started
TV
to go
show.
old school now, like real TV shows were. And I saw that Mrs. Maisel is coming out, and they're going to do something like that where they release like an episode or two every couple weeks.
Oh, well, then I need to get, when do you know when that is? Because I need to get caught up.
February 17th. It's coming up.
Oh, like soon.
Yeah.
Oh, because I think I'm behind like a season on that. I'm not sure.
Oh, well, that was one that I really liked the first like season or two, and then it just started to get kind of so like, yeah. And I thought, well, I'll give it one more chance. I'll watch a little more, because maybe they'll pull it back out, or
right.
I think it's one of those things that if you're just watching it for the entertainment, there's funny stuff, but it just, when the less realistic things get, or they get so crazy, I'm just like, okay, how long can I go along with this story? But
the other thing I also watched, it's something like Let's Talk About Bill Cosby, or We Need to Talk About.
You mentioned the Bill Cosby
on Showtime.
Okay, and how was that?
It was like a 4-part documentary series. And my poor husband, I like put it on the tablet and then lay in bed and watch it, and he hates to hear about rape, stuff like that when he's going to sleep.
Yeah, that's not a good thing to fall asleep.
But the funny thing is that he gets up in the morning and then puts on the news and listens to all that horrible stuff, and it's like,
right. Yeah, just as bad.
I don't get it.
They say that whatever you spend the last 45 minutes focusing on before you fall asleep is what is predominant in your processing while you sleep.
Huh.
So
I've always fallen asleep to murder and rape and serial killers and stuff like, I don't know, it's soothing. I don't know why that is. Yeah, well. But anyway, so Bill Cosby's a piece of shit, basically. Why is it so dark at your place?
I was just going to say, I just noticed that I didn't turn my lights on, and so it was bright when we started. It's getting darker and darker. I was like, the sun is going down.
Like, Andy, is that you?
Yes, I'm still here.
Let me get my...
And so...
Here, I got a spotlight and a magnifying glass.
There we go. I'm here.
Much better.
There we go.
You look more attractive in the light.
I have another light from the other side, but that's too far away to get plugged in. So anyway.
Yeah. And then I was on my RuPaul's Drag Race for a while, but I've had open mics the last couple of nights. So.
Yeah, I know that's your new obsession, is the RuPaul.
Well, I was watching it so much when I was off work that when I stopped watching it, all I could think about were the drag queens. Like,
I wonder what's happened with them. I wonder where they're going. That's fun. Yeah, that's fair. I've had shows like that. Ozark was kind of that way for me when I watched it originally, or certain shows where you just kind of get into it and you're just like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. And now certain things I'll never know. But, well, is there anything else you want to mention before we hit the road here?
I don't know. I think that's it. That was just a big catch-up session for us.
It was. Yeah, this is, we did get our goal setting time. We didn't really, it was just a good catch up and kind of intention setting, I would say, more than goal setting earlier this week. And it was just good to get together in person again and catch up. And get back to things. So
do it every now and then, and we can film each other if we need an extra pair of hands for our TikToks.
Yeah.
I
know. I'm gonna have to think about what my little carry walk thing is going to be.
Yeah. That's the other thing too that'll help with you get views, is jump on those trends right as they come out if you can. I'm not doing any dancing or anything like that, but
I'm gonna have to learn how to find the trends.
Yeah.
I have to Google today's TikTok trend and see what comes up.
All
right.
All right. Well, I love you. I'll
love you too. It's been a pleasure. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.